Hello, hello, hola, you lovely, beautiful beings. Welcome back to Muse. My name is Damaris. I know you're probably wondering, where is my guest, my lovely friend, who I was going to have on this episode. And I still will have on the episode, except I was actually finding it quite difficult to edit last week. Mohammed and I did share quite a lot in our recording, and I really wanted to take my time to put everything together in a very organic way that sounds good, that feels good, that is enjoyable to listen to. Not that we're not enjoyable to listen to, more so that I just wanted to have more time with all the things that we spoke about. So this episode is going to be a bit shorter, a bit of an update, and next week I will have completed the editing and have Mohammed on the podcast as my guest, which I'm so excited for. And the things that I have edited so far are really good and just fun, and it's actually really nice to play back the conversations that we were having that day. So I hope you're still excited and still staying tuned for that, and also that you have had an amazing week, that you've enjoyed this past week, felt a little more at peace, a little bit more content, grateful, and enjoying, if you're in North America, enjoying summer, which is such a good, fun, busy sometimes time. So this is a very impromptu episode that I'm putting together now, because I wanted to make sure that I shared something, but also that I was intentional and that you know kind of what's going on if you've been following along. So today I wanted to talk about, like the title says, about finding alignment in your life. I think this is something that seems very daunting. Even though it might seem this way, I still wanted to be able to give a few of my thoughts, if this is something that you might be thinking about as well, and share what I have and am doing to bring more alignment into my life. Being young, you always hear and feel like you will be able to figure things out when you grow up. Your mentality is, I might not know exactly what I want to do in my life right now. I might not be so clear in the path that I want to take, in the things that I'm interested in. Granted, you're young. You haven't experienced life enough to know where you stand in all of that. So you know that, and I think are hopeful that you will figure it out when you grow up, as you get older, that things will somehow align, will come to fruition, will help to bring clarity, which for the most part is totally true. But on the other end, for those of us that are a bit older, that have been learning and growing and evolving in our lives, trying to and continuing to figure out what are the things that we want, how we can find more alignment and be living in alignment with our true selves, being able to be happy in a way that knowing that we might not be so clear is not a detriment to who we are or where we're at in our lives. Even though we're much older than those young people that we once were, thinking that we would figure everything out in the future, or that things would be figured out in the future when we got older. But the reality is, as we get older, it's actually much harder to figure out. The things that block us from finding alignment or figuring out what we actually want to be doing is harder. There are things that become priorities in our lives over other things, over ourselves, even sometimes. Being able to support ourselves, to take care of our families, to have a life outside of the things that we solely desire for ourselves, and also the fact that we get distracted and don't always make time to sit with our mind, with our hearts, in a way that we can take a look at more deeply and clearly and assess where we're at and where we actually want to be. There's so many more things, and I feel like most of them, the things that impede us from making a lot of these things come to fruition, is ourselves, is our own mind, our own ways of thinking or looking at things, or feeling like we're older now, there's no point. How can we find alignment if we haven't found it this far? Maybe it doesn't exist. And all these things are our own blocks, our own limitations that we put on ourselves. It's not necessarily something that others have said to us, although that might also be a barrier. That might also be things that are impacting us on a daily basis, where we're finding that we can't move forward and we stay stuck where we are in the ways that we're thinking. So then, how do we actually find alignment? How do we actually move into alignment in our lives? I suppose it has to do with coming back to our true selves, to those younger versions of ourselves and how we used to view the world. These are my 5 mini tips that I use to shift my perspective and my mindset into a more aligned version of myself. Number 1, in aligning with those younger versions of ourselves, with the types of views that you had when you were younger and the world was ahead of you. Life was ahead of you. What do you have when you're in that place? Being hopeful and optimistic about figuring shit out. And when you're young, everything is still unknown. It's still so big. It's so new. We don't have experience yet. We haven't been tainted necessarily of what being a real adult might be like. And I think being hopeful and optimistic really helps shift your mindset in a way that will help you view your life, your circumstances in a positive way, in an outlook of optimism, of possibilities, of curiosity. Number 2, now that we're older, and even for those of you that might only be a little bit older, because I'm talking if you were in high school recently and are now just coming into adulthood or starting to have to think about things that are much bigger than you, about life and becoming an adult and taking care of yourself. I believe we can look at ourselves with a bit more clarity and see maybe what we actually like, what brings us joy or interest. Just being a little bit older, even with a little bit more experience, automatically gives us a little bit more knowledge in ourselves and understanding those things for ourselves. What do we actually like? What actually brings us joy? What are we interested in? We know what we don't want. We can see through that what are the things we actually want. What do we actually like? What actually makes us happy? That way, we can move towards that. Number 3 is follow that path. Follow that path of the things that we actually like. Even if it's not totally clear all the time as to where it's going, what are the outcomes, follow it because it's fun, because there's positivity, optimism, and hopefulness, possibility on the other end of that thing that already we know brings us joy. We already know that we enjoy it. Number 4, know that alignment changes as you change. So even though something that we might be following feels aligned, it feels good, it feels like we're moving towards something positive, towards something that we think is the direction that we're meant to be going, understand that as you then are evolving, as you're learning, that alignment might shift and might change and evolve with you, which means that what path that you might have been following 2 seconds ago might not be the path that you're going to take in the next 5 seconds. That has now pivoted slightly because now you've learned and gained more knowledge about yourself, and what actually feels aligned to you has shifted slightly, has pivoted towards maybe a more aligned direction now. So you need to be able to be okay with that pivot. You need to be okay with understanding that alignment isn't one true North Star that you're going to be able to follow all the time. That would be awesome. That'd be easy. Unfortunately, it's not so clear a lot of the time. So you gotta be okay with shifting and moving and pivoting and growing and changing, evolving. Number 5, true alignment to me is a feeling of happiness or a contentment in loving what you do, in wanting to show up every day, or that gives you a reason to wake up every day. And that can look different for every single one of you. And it can look different from day to day, from year to year. That could be your job that you love, your family, a project, being in nature. There's so many things. But those are the things I think we need to be paying attention to. Those are the things that create true alignment when we're feeling happy, content, and loving what we're doing. It gives us purpose and reasons to wake up every morning. I just wanted to share this little concept and tidbit of something that I've been thinking about and pondering because I'm trying to find alignment in my own life and wanting to feel this happiness, contentment, to want to do and follow the things that bring me joy. Because what is life without that? What is life without happiness and joy and contentment and having the reason and the purpose of why you wake up every day? That you're not hating what you're doing, that you're not bored or distracted all the time. You feel optimistic and hopeful every day for the things that come your way. There's positivity and light emanating from you to others, and you want to share the things that you're doing. You want to feel like you are present in your life and in the lives of other people that you love and share the world with. Can you find alignment in your life? Yes. Can you learn to trust yourself and not let things like getting older, change, questions get in the way of pursuing it? Also, yes. So, what will you do to find alignment and joy in your life today? I ask this because I'm asking myself, how can I live my daily life pursuing and navigating my life to find more alignment? I hope that this was a little enlightening, a little inspiring, a little positivity, a little tidbit of love that I'm sharing, a little tidbit of light and hopefulness that I wanted to be sharing with you today, that you can find alignment and feel good about where you're at. I hope you have an amazing day, evening, night, morning, wherever you are. And as always, keep creating. We'll see you next week. Bye.